Well, Laura, you're coming to the end of our first year with us. How's it been?
So far I've settled in well. I've enjoyed this year, thoroughly enjoyed being back in class, and I think I have gained more professionally myself. I've set targets and achieved them and gained a lot of support and enjoyed everything so far.
Well, you know, as I've said to you on previous occasions, I think you've settled in well. It's always difficult when someone comes into a new school, new staff, new parents, and an awful lot of new initiatives. But I think that you've settled in and become part of the team. The new initiative this year, of course, was PRSD, so you're on the same footing as everybody else. So I think what we'll do is we'll look at reviewing the PRSD process first of all. Let's begin this meeting by reviewing the process. We met as a whole staff in early October and we agreed a format for, after a series of induction meetings, we agreed a format for the PRSD process. You and I met later on in that month, and at that meeting we discussed your objectives and the type of evidence will be collected. There were 3 objectives that we set out. One was the whole school one for marking on improvement. Your second one was your own personal choice, which was devising and implementing problem-solving activities for Year 5. And your third objective was simply to attend inset and disseminate to the staff. Are you happy with that? Have you any comments on it?
No, I enjoyed the accelerated learning course. And I think just having some targets throughout the year was helpful to me to try and home in on things that I should work at throughout the school year.
Okay, thanks, Laura. You're aware today's meeting is not only just to review the targets that you had set out last year, but to set some out for next year again. Have you read all the relevant documentation about the review meeting and the review statement?
Yeah.
And are you happy with it?
Fine, yeah.
Okay. Last year you selected as a whole staff objective 1, which was marking for improvement. I visited your classroom and I remarked on your lesson, and as I said at the time I thought it was a very good lesson. And we looked at types of marking, we looked at insertion marking, and we looked at a process of which we called 2 stars and a wish format. I said at that time I found that the 2 stars and a wish format was probably the weaker of the 2. And that you may need some further support on that. At the time you felt that was the case. Have you reflected on that? Do you still think you need help? Or
I still would like, I think it might be beneficial if I could look at other colleagues' work and how they have actually carried out the 2 stars and a wish, because it's a process that I'm not familiar with. I haven't used it in previous teaching, so I think that might benefit me throughout the year.
Okay, thank you. Your second objective was to demonstrate in classroom practice problem solving and to draw up a list of activities. You gave me a list of those activities, and again, as the last time, we had a session on lesson observation. At the time, and it's still the same, I thought that lesson went extremely well, and if you're happy I will simply record that that objective has been met.
Yes, it was met, but I do think it is something that, just for the nature of the children I'm working with, that it's something that I need to continually work on and develop, as they do struggle to see things when they're removed from the straightforward.
Yes, I mean, your colleague Gary was also working on some type of problem-solving activities for his year group. I think what we will probably do next year is look at the 2 of you and maybe extend that all the way through to Key Stage 2.
Yeah.
Your final objective, you attended an inset on accelerated learning, and you subsequently disseminated that to staff. I know by talking to the staff they found that extremely useful, and I thought it was very good, and delivery of that was excellent. Does it require any sort of follow-up, either by yourself or in school or anything like that?
I find it very interesting, and if there was ever anything further to it, I would be quite interested in going out again. Quite a lot of the ideas on it are things that are possibly have been used in class before or could be used, and they're quite simple to carry out, so I think it would be a useful exercise if we could try and tie them in somewhere into our school plan.
Are you happy that I record objective 3 met?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The final area for development in this year is the Annex B, where I record your training and development needs. First of all, we have talked about needing further in-house support on the 2 stars in the wish format in the marking. I'll record that needs to be done. As a whole staff, we have already discussed the fact that the need for coordinator stroke middle management training, so that issue will go down as well. And in terms of your own personal development, I know you're in the middle of doing PQH. I'm just going to record that as well. Is that fair enough that I record all those 3?
Yeah, that's fine.
Any other comments?
No, that's grand, as long as the PQH can sort of be tied in with any work I'm doing throughout the year.
Well, I mean, we'll take a look at that later. I mean, it is integral to the whole process. PQH is integral to the whole process. Therefore, we will hit all the targets we need within the school and for your own criteria at the same time. Now to the incoming year, I think that, I mean, we've discussed this already as a whole staff. We will just adopt the same model format as before. We'll take an objective that everybody will do. Therefore, we have discussed the fact that we need to look at our reading. We have had discussions with CAS and they're going to provide us support in guided reading. So the staff, we've all agreed that objective 1 would be to model the new format for guided reading. You're still in agreement with that?
Yeah, I know.
And the evidence we collect will be through classroom observation?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Objective number 2, have you had an opportunity yet to study the school development plan and think of something from that?
Yeah, I'd hope to maybe try to do the SIA Ulta that I'm carrying out, that I have had the training for in Key Stage 2. That's
not a problem. How do you think, have you any idea of any particular type of wording, how we could word that, or?
Well, not quite sure. We're just going to carry it out with Key Stage 2, and it's going to be the first stage of it, so whether it's just actually getting it set up.
Right, okay, you're registered. I know that you're registered for a year. Next year's year 6, and next year's year 7, and also next year's year 5 are registered as well. I think that we need to focus, because the initial training was on 6 and 7, so you in year 6 next year can focus in on that. And I think we'll bring year 5 along with us, so it would be a case of, let's say, introducing it to all of Key Stage 2.
Yeah.
How I would collect some sort of evidence, it may be a case of a classroom observation, either with, if you're going to take the lead in this, either with your own class or one of the other classes in Key Stage 2. Just trying to get a wording on that. It is with an introduction. You went through the training this year, however, it hasn't, apart from the children being registered on the system, nothing really has been done as yet.
No, we've just trialled it a little bit with our outgoing primary 7s, but we're now actually going to carry it out with the P5, 6 and 7. So,
well, what about
set up on familiarisation with the new SIA Ultra programme?
Yes, or to simply to introduce it to Key Stage 2.
Yeah.
All the way through.
Yes.
Let's just see. To introduce the SIA Ulta Mathematics pilot to Key Stage 2. How am I going to know that you're, apart from observation, in fact maybe that's the only one of the ways to do it is through classroom observation. There will obviously be documentary evidence on the system.
Yeah.
So perhaps if I arrange a time sometime in the first term, or depending on the timetable, maybe the second term, to come in and see you do that. And then you can provide me with documentation, or I take it that I will be able to go online and look at results and things.
Yes,
like
you
that.
can access results, or if, because I'm leading it, if you wanted to initially focus on primary 6, and then we could go further and work in with P5 and P7, who will all be doing it, but simply because I'm leading it from my class.
Okay. Well, I think we'll leave it. I think we'll leave it broad at the minute. It is something that's going to go on for 2 to 3 years, and therefore you may wish to look at it again next year and hone it down a bit more.
Yeah.
But at this stage, it's an early pilot. We're piloting it as well. So I think the introduction of it, the key stage 2, that every child has got experience of it, every child gets online, is what I would like to do.
Yes, and getting familiar with the use of it. Yeah, that's fine.
And the evidence to be collected will be a classroom or computer suite observation of it.
I think that would be.
And I look at it online, or you can provide me with results and evidence like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. And finally, objective 3. You know that we, as a staff, are looking at coordinator training. Do you want to take that for your personal and professional development, or do you have another option?
Well, simply because I'm going through PQH, will that not be enough to fulfil?
Certainly, the PQH would actually be more than enough. And the evidence for that will be your qualification at the end. And I suppose we could record it simply as to obtain the professional qualification for headship.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay?
Yeah.
The only thing that I would say about that is that if we are trying to get this done within the time span, then you need to go for your school-based assessment either in tranche 1 or tranche 2, which will be February through to April, so that you can do the residential and the final skills assessment and all completed by the middle of June.
Yes, no, I prefer to have that done, cleared up by then,
and out of the way. Okay, I'll make a note of that. And then finally, within the next few days, I'll record all of this on your review statement, give you the review statement, give you a chance to read it, and we'll discuss if any changes are made. If not, just sign it, date it, and I'll do the same, and I'll give you a copy. Okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Have you any other comments or anything else to say?
That's fine, thank you very much.
Thank you.